traders at Access Bank say that they anticipate a rise in money market rates due to the expected FX intervention debit to the market. Meanwhile, the naira lost further ground at the parallel market, currently trading at around 980 levels to the dollar. Kolawole Komolafe, a Treasury member at Access Bank, joins me now for updates on the markets here today. Thank you so much for your time today, Kolawole. It's been quite a turbulent week for the naira, but let me get your assessment on what the market has fed this week.
Hi, Kenneth. Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here. So I'll start with the money market. So this week we saw the market opening with a repo of 25 billion, but by opening of yesterday, we saw that market liquidity was now at the credit of about 180 billion. The main reason for this was the coupon payments that came in on Tuesday of about 134 billion. So subsequently, we saw the interbank rate experience a sharp decline. It closed at 2.5% and 3.1% for the OPR and overnight rates, respectively. And you're right, we expect this to inch up today due to the settlement debit for the FX intervention by the CBN, which happened yesterday. So we expect that by close of market today, those rates would have inched up slightly. I would also go to the FX space, where the CBN intervened yesterday in the INE market. Prior to that, we had seen that rates oscillated around the 770 to 776, both in the NAFEX and the INE rate. But post the intervention yesterday, we saw significant gains in the INE market, where we saw the INE close at 738 naira to the dollar, while the NAFEX remained at around 772 naira to the dollars. In the fixed income space, we saw the Treasury bills market trade quietly, but we're still seeing demand skewed towards the long end, particularly the August and the September 2024 bills. We didn't have any auction this week. That's until next week, Wednesday. Right. While for the bonds market, we've seen interest on the short end, particularly the 2027, 2028 papers.
All right, we'll get into the other segments of the market, but I just wanted to get your take on the impact of the central bank's intervention in the FX market in this quarter.
Okay, yes, so what we've seen is that the CBN comes intermittently to intervene in the INE space. So before, again, like I mentioned, before their intervention yesterday, which was, I think, the first time in about 2 weeks, we saw that rates were around the 775, 776 levels. But immediately after their intervention, we saw that rates appreciated in the INE market to 738 naira to the dollar in the INE space. So we expect that these interventions would continue, both for the dollars and also for CNY.
Yeah, but for the INE space, how is that impacting volumes there?
Well, the supply still continues to not meet demand. We've still seen that the demand far outweighs the supplies, but we've seen trades being consummated, not to desired levels of market players, but CBN continues to intervene. We still continue to see trades, interbank trades, and also trades by customers being consummated. Yeah,
because on the FX volatility that we're facing currently, recent comments from the finance minister talking about the fact that the FX backlogs are part of what's contributing to this. I understand the governor of the central bank 2 weeks ago promised to clear these backlogs of about $10 million. What's the progress like in that area?
Well, I wouldn't say the acting CBN then promised. What I can say is that there were speculations, or there were reports in some quarters that those FX backlog will be cleared in 2 weeks, but there wasn't any official communication as to that from the CBN. And then what we are aware of is that there are still efforts both from the fiscal side and the CBN side to see that the naira is stabilized, and then there are efforts to see that liquidity comes into the system to stabilize the naira and then to clear the backlogs.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, still quite a lot of uncertainty playing out with monetary policy in the country. We're still not having an MPC meeting next week, which has been postponed. The date, nobody really can tell. But how is that impacting investor sentiment into Nigeria?
I'll say that there's quite a bit of optimism, and the reason I say that is you see that there are several road shows that have been done where investors' confidence is being propped up in the Nigerian market, right? There are still efforts. I think sometime last month or 2 months ago, there was a report of the Afrexim loan to NNPC, right? While we still continue to watch to see how that would play out, there are also several initiatives by the CBN and also by the federal government to see that these first of the backlog is cleared and also obligations are being met so that investors' confidence in the Nigerian market is still high.
Yeah, but for the bonds, where are we seeing this interest play out? Short end or longer end of the curve?
Well, yesterday it was on the short end of the curve, right? I think as more as the policy, especially for the newly nominated CBN leadership, comes to play, and then there's a sense of direction where the policy would go, you'll see people take more positions in the bond space.
But very quickly, your expectations for the next week's primary market auction?
Okay, so for next week, there's an NTB auction on Wednesday where about 177 billion would be on offer. We expect that from next week, liquidity would continue to pour into the system as we expect FAC inflows, and then would see that by the auction date, you would have a lot of liquidity in the system, and we might see rates close slightly lower than where they closed last auction.
All right, thank you so much for that, breaking that down. Kolawole Komolafe, a Treasury Team Member at Access Bank.